Well, good morning, everyone. So what do you think about when you envision the American dream? You think about green grass, maybe a white picket fence, maybe some people think about a home in the suburbs, but the one commonality across almost everyone is that they think about owning your own home. The ability to have a safe place to go home to at the end of the night, to rest your head on the pillow, to rejuvenate for the next day. The ability to generate equity that you can then pass on to your kids and then their kids. A home is this wonderful place of stability, and if you own it, there's some assurance that you'll have it for a long period of time. And that was made possible in large part through the GI Bill. Going back following World War II, people came home, they had opportunity to get financing. They might have gotten a subsidy to help make a down payment. By the way, almost all of those people that got those assets were white. They had the ability to generate intergenerational wealth in a way that black people following World War II did not have the same opportunity to do. And so what we're trying to do right now is correct and change a lot of these mistakes and shortcomings from the past. We want to make sure that people have the opportunity to own their own home, to generate equity, to pass that home on to future generations. That's what this is all about. And so we're investing $2.5 million through the American Rescue Act funding in our Minneapolis Homes program. This is a really incredible program that has now for years provided the necessary assistance to make sure that people can own their homes. And it does so in a few different ways. First, oftentimes a developer will come across a property. They'll want to make it into a home. It's underutilized. It's vacant. It's not generating or giving anything back to community. And so they want to put up a home. But it costs around $300,000 to put up that home, and they know that when they sell it, they'll only get $250,000 back. So there's a $50,000 loss to do what we all understand to be the right thing. We can help through that with gap financing. Second, a lot of people, they're able to pay the principal amount of a mortgage. They're able to pay that monthly fee, that monthly amount of money. However, they don't necessarily have $30,000 or $40,000 just sitting around to provide a down payment. So we can help provide that down payment assistance to give someone that immediate boost so that they can start paying the mortgage and then ultimately building equity. And the third way to do this is through a long and sustainable affordable home ownership program, largely through the City of Lakes Community Land Trust, where yes, you can generate equity. You can get in at perhaps a lower level or a lower price point so that you too can have the opportunity ultimately to own your own home. And there are just so many people that we have to thank for this work. Several of them anyway are speaking very shortly here. Adeyanka Badewa, who is a developer of this particular home, I don't think he was able to be with us today, but we need to have these partnerships between the public and private sector, and he's a really important part of that. Roxanne Young-Kimball and her entire team deserves a whole lot of credit. Thank you so much for your work. You all are incredible. We really appreciate it. I mean, in the last year, I think last 2 years, we pushed about $10 million specifically to the Minneapolis Homes program and home ownership generally. That's a lot of money, and that means a whole lot of work for all of you. We've got Stacy Horowitz from the City of Lakes Community Land Trust, who will be speaking shortly, as well as Chad Booley from Habitat for Humanity. Again, always it's about partnerships. I feel like a broken record saying it, but it really does matter. And so we've been putting our money where our mouth is, and where our mouth is talking about home ownership. It matters. It's a great way to build community, and it's something that I think we all can unite in a beautiful way behind. And so, we're in Ward 4 right now. We're in Ward 4. We are in Ward 4. We are in Ward 4 right now, and we've got the council member from Ward 4 who is a big proponent of home ownership right now in her community, LaTrisha Vetaw, council member.
Thank you, man. Good morning and welcome to Ward 4. I am just here today to say thanks to all of our partners. Thank you to the person that's going to be this homeowner. I am excited about the future of our investments at the city. Thank you to the mayor. Thank you to my colleagues on the council. It's very important that we continue to make these investments in our communities, especially underserved ones. And so I'm proud to be here standing as a person who represents Ward 4 and hopefully welcoming a new neighbor to the neighborhood. This is a beautiful home. It's a beautiful block. I mean, it's a beautiful time to be purchasing a home. And so I'm excited about the future of our neighborhood and the future of us continuing to invest in programs like this. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you, council member. Another huge proponent of pushing for home ownership, especially in lower income communities and black and brown communities in his ward and throughout the city. Council member Jeremiah Ellison.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The mayor talked a lot about some of the history of housing in across the country, but certainly applies to us here in Minneapolis. And it reminded me of that old real estate map from the 1930s, in which you see that what's now wards 4 and 5, where LaTrisha and I represent, is labeled as quote a Negro slum. And for decades, certainly. Public and private partnerships tried to make that a reality here in North Minneapolis. And for decades, you've seen the North Side community resist those kinds of labels, resist allowing our community to become that. Here, we stand in an opportunity to, as government, as public and private individuals, to make sure that we're not forcing our community to resist that legacy, that we're actually working with our community to make sure that that's not the legacy here in North Minneapolis. And this home that we're here is an example of us being able to do that. And really, it's a big credit to staff. It's a big credit to the folks at the city and to our partners who help us create this work. North Minneapolis residents don't want to see lots that could have families, that could have those picket fences and those porches. They don't want to see those lots vacant. They want to see them filled. They don't want to see the homes vacant. They want to see them filled with people. This is our opportunity to really do that. One question I forgot to ask is there preference policy on these?
Not on this.
Oh, okay, cool. Not on this unit, but we're in a position also to make sure that if people have been priced out of North Minneapolis, that we're creating policies that allow people to move back into the neighborhood. And so these are really important things and really important steps for us to take as we are creating the community that we all know that we deserve. And so again, I just want to thank every single person who took a part in making sure that we could make this home a reality and every single one a reality. And with that, I want to go ahead and introduce Alfred Port up to the mic.
Good afternoon. Good morning.
Long night.
Yes. Well, first of all, I want to say thanks to the mayor, to the council members, and to staff for the work that they've put in. Minneapolis, without this type of investment, we wouldn't be able to move the dial. In order for us to make the significant changes that's necessary, we need to put in the investment. We need to roll up our sleeves. Today, Minneapolis has one of the worst homeownership disparity rates in the country. In order for us to close that gap, we would need to transition 13,000 renters into homeownership. Since the mayor took office, he has put tens of millions of dollars into affordable housing. Council members have supported our work, and we're in a position now to make these types of investments. In wards 4 and 5, because of the disinvestment, the private market failure, we have over 300 vacant lots in these wards. We need to put systems in place to transition those vacant lots into home ownership. Our work has not only invested in ensuring that BIPOC individuals become homeowners, but we've also partnered with our nonprofit development partners and our BIPOC emerging developers into getting into this space, into the development space, so that we can see investments such as this. the developer that's embarked on this project is a person of color, an African descent, and he's unable to be here because he's vacationing back home. But the work on this project, you have an opportunity to tour this building, see the craftsmanship, and it's the kind of work that we need to see across our city, where folks at 80% of the area median income can be in a position to purchase, not just in North Minneapolis, but all parts of our city. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Mr. Elfrick-Port, and for your whole team for all of the work that they've done to get all this work set up. Next up, we've got Chad Booley from Habitat for Humanity. Again, this work requires broad-based partnerships, and Habitat has done a ton of work along with us to literally get these homes built. Chad.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today and speak on behalf of Twin Cities Habitat for Humanity. As many of you know, Twin Cities Habitat for Humanity has worked in the affordable homeownership arena in the 30 to 80% AMI since 1985. And we have built 50 to 60 homes per year for a long time now. Unfortunately, as land prices continue to go up, material prices go up, subcontractor prices go up. In that spectrum of 30 to 80% AMI, it's becoming increasingly difficult to serve on the lower end of that spectrum. And so the opportunity to speak briefly today about an upcoming project with additional Minneapolis funding was great. So we are looking at a project in the Harrison neighborhood, 17 units of townhomes in partnership with the City of Minneapolis, City of Lakes Community Land Trust, and Minnesota Housing Finance Agency, where we are looking to build 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath homes on average. And the city has stepped up with $900,000 of grant funding out of their Missing Middle program, as well as $550,000 out of their ARPA funds that they've received. So we are very grateful for that. Briefly, what's unique about this project for Habitat, based on the financing structure, this will allow us to go deeper in that income spectrum. On average, we'll be serving 50% AMI. Many of the units will go deeper. Secondly, we've been working closely with the neighborhood, the Harrison neighborhood, and have had extensive meetings to locate and work with local families. The Harrison neighborhood, of course, is one of those areas that is vulnerable to gentrification, and so we are working diligently and consciously to avoid exacerbating that issue. And lastly, for Habitat, this is going to allow us to grow. As mentioned, we do 50 to 60 homes per year, and we've been doing that for a long time. This project, with its density, is going to allow us to scale and do more. And so we are excited for that, and we're excited for future opportunities to do just that again. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Chad. And next we have Stacy Horowitz, who's been really an extraordinary partner with City of Lakes Community Land Trust that enables more and more people to own their own home. Please.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you all for this opportunity. As we've been talking about, being able to get into home ownership in particular is challenging for many of our neighbors, community members, and being able to create a perpetual, affordable home ownership option provides the opportunity for individuals and families in our community to have stable housing payments, be able to build wealth, build equity in their home, and it's an important part of an option along the housing continuum that we see between rental and conventional home ownership. Over the last couple of years, through City of Lakes Community Land Trust and the resales that we have seen of our existing homeowners, about 55% of those homeowners have converted to conventional home ownership. So it demonstrates the opportunity, being able to get into home ownership creates that opportunity long term to really follow through on what our individuals and families and community members and neighbors see for themselves and their families. The City of Lakes Community Land Trust deeply appreciates the ongoing partnership with the City of Minneapolis, as well as our other funders in the county and in the state. And through the leverage and the investments that we're talking about today, we're going to be able to assist through our Homebuyer Initiated program, Project Sustain Legacy, which is an opportunity to stabilize renters and existing homeowners in the city of Minneapolis. We also have an incredible opportunity over in South Minneapolis in our partnership with Hope Community to restore a building that's been vacant for about 30 years, and that is at 628 East Franklin, as well as the Harrison Townhomes, which we continue to appreciate the partnership that we have with Twin Cities Habitat for Humanity. Leveraged appropriately and thoughtfully as we go through and effectively the way we do these investments, we have the opportunity to have a positive generational impact on our neighbors, our community, individuals, and families. Thank you.
Thank you all, and with that, we'll open it to any questions that you might have. You covered it? All right. Well, I will say, but before we finish up here, I will say these investments represent a really dramatic shift in the way that we are providing affordable housing in our city. Over the last 4 or 5 years, we have invested many, many times more than we ever have before in affordable housing, and one of the main focuses has been on home ownership. And so this is delivering on a number of promises that I think we've all collectively made to residents of our city, the general public, and to each other, that we're going to do better by people that need homes, that we're going to do better to right the wrongs of the past, and this represents a really significant step in that direction. Thank you, everyone.